I started recording this too for YouTube. So,
Oh.
hey guys, we're here.
Hi, Craig. Hey guys, Craig is watching.
Hey Craig,
Hey,
thank
sound check.
you guys.
Craig,
sound check us.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us both?
Right.
We are just like we're not even 1 minute in here. We're just getting started.
Yeah, we're just checking in on you.
Looking for a sound check. Make sure you guys can hear us and get all our tech down.
It looks like it works on my end, but we're checking.
I see Mark. Mark, can you hear us?
Oh my God, Mark! Hey.
There's Ethan.
Let us know if you can hear us.
Sandy. And Sandy and
Victoria.
I love Sandy.
I love these guys.
Isn't this like Romper Room?
Yeah,
I see
know.
Billy and Bobby and Jimmy and Sue. Timmy and Tommy and both of you other two as well. I don't know.
Right. Oh my God, I loved Romper Room. I really did.
Robert
I'm making
hey,
one quick
sir,
adjustment.
How are you tonight? Thanks for joining us. We're just checking the wheels and
we're making the last of the adjustments here.
Just kicking the tires, making sure that this plane's going to fly before we take off.
I'm really excited to be doing this tonight because we're talking about a topic that's near and dear to my heart.
I see Mikey and Holly. Oh, Mark just made gummies. Sweet.
Hey, well, you know what I did too this weekend.
You know what? My neighbor asked me if I could make some gummies.
You're like, hell yeah, gummies. Come on. Seriously, I mean, no, I laugh because people ask me that. Like, of course I can make gummies. Duh.
Yeah, can you make some gummies? Yeah, I can.
Well, but
I can.
If you think about it, I mean, okay, let's go back in the day. I didn't know that I could make gummies also. I mean, I just thought that was something that was made in a factory. So.
Well, yeah. As a brand new patient, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you think. I'm glancing at the notes here.
Go ahead. We're actually going to talk about edibles tonight, but not like how to make an edible, but things about what to know when you venture into the edible territory.
I just want to say hi to Lori.
Oh.
Live chat.
Actually, this was Lori's idea. A couple weeks ago,
really?
She asked, like, can you talk about making, like, edibles and absorbing them? Because some people have issues with that. And she's right. Some people do.
Yes. So, Lori, hi. How you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. We are going to be talking about that. Edibles and dosages and how to get the cannabinoids in you so they're effective. Yeah.
And get them effective for you and what to expect when you take an edible, because I think that a lot of times it's portrayed as scary. Like, oh, don't eat the whole chocolate bar. I mean, I remember my first edible from the dispensary was, like, on it said, make sure you have other food at home. So, like, you don't get the munchies and continue eating the edible, I was assuming. But I kind of thought it was cute and sweet because, like, at the time, that edible didn't do anything for me. But I learned some things, and I'm going to tell you about them tonight. So,
I have two edible stories.
Mm-hmm. Only two?
I have two that I'm focused in and that I want to share.
I think everybody has an edible story. Go for it.
Is it okay? Okay, so I'm going to share two. So the first edible story really is 4 years old, maybe 5 years old. It connects to my initial patient experience of me.
It's your first time edible experience.
My first time medical cannabis experience. My stepdaughter had noticed my stress and anxiety levels and said, would you fucking smoke a joint and shut the fuck up? You know? And we actually took a vacation to Florida.
Right.
And this was before I was a patient or anything. Um, and so we ended up back in the girls' room, our daughter and her
Right.
girlfriend. Um, and fuck, they scored some weed on the beach. So they're like, we should just fucking smoke this because you're so wound up and so.
You're so wound up.
Anyway, so I
God
just
damn
lost
it,
your
Dad,
sound,
just
Holly.
smoke a joint.
Okay, now I got you back. Anyway, so my daughter got me started, and so my first experience at the dispensary was I'm an asthmatic. I want help sleeping at night. I'm a chronic pain patient. I'd rather not smoke. Blah 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 blah. One of the products I left with was some gummy bears, some gummies. They weren't bears, but they were indica gummies. Um, I'll not tell you who made them or any of that because
It's not
they were
important.
worthless. Yeah, they were worthless.
Yeah.
It was $40. It was 100 milligrams for the package. There were they were 10 per gummy, and they did nothing. And so that was my first experience, not only with medical cannabis,
Right.
but my first experience with gummies.
Right.
So shortly after that, or very close to that time frame, I was still traveling. I still felt healthy enough to travel, and my
Right.
wife and I took a plane out to Denver.
Right.
And so we went to Denver, Colorado for 2 or 3 days, a couple days, I think it was.
Right.
And we arranged for the weed tours, where somebody
Weed
picked
tours.
us up at the hotel and took us to a glass shop, dispensary, and a couple other places. The whole
As
weed
a
tour
weed tour
thing.
should be.
Took us to lunch. You know, the minute we got in the car, he reached over the seat, and because we're in the back, and he reached over the seat. He's like, "Here's your gift bag. Here's your welcome bag." And it was a lighter, and it was a little glass pipe branded Sky High Tours, something 420 Tours Denver.
Aw, cute,
branded
yeah.
merchandise. Okay, and then he reached over again. He says, "Now, this is some of my medicine. I can't technically provide you with medicine because you have to go to a dispensary, but here's a little of mine just to get you started as we, So this is how we go."
That's
And
it. You tip your driver.
we buy some weed, we buy some chocolates, we buy some stuff, whatever. We
Good
go
for
through the
you,
whole tour. We buy it, we do a tour, whatever. Go back home, go back to the hotel. You can't smoke in the car, can't smoke in the room because this was 5 years ago in Denver.
Right.
So I have a candy bar, and I don't know how many. Probably more than 100. I don't know what it was.
Right.
But I ended up eating 3/4 of the candy bar and smoking in the car. We ended up going to dinner at this nice big fucking Denver steakhouse, okay? And I'm a little bit annoyed because I'm eating all this shit. I'm eating. I'm not
Doing
really
all the
feeling
things.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. Edibles are bullshit.
This is bullshit.
Right? Beware, motherfucker, when you say edibles are bullshit because you're about to get fucked. Anyway, so we get into the steakhouse, we sit down at the steakhouse, and we order our food, and it fucking hits me sitting there in the restaurant. And
would you say that's your first serious experience with like an edible high?
No. I have another story I could share, but so we're sitting at the restaurant, and see, Serena just walked out here because she remembers the story. So I'm conscious that there's a lot of people in the restaurant, and I don't want to be an asshole. Hard
Sure.
to me, anyway. So I kind of lean forward, and I'm like, "Can I ask you a question?"
Am I peeing?
And she says, She says, take my hat and my glasses off. I says, can I ask you a question? She says, yeah. Like, she's so serious. I'm like, are my fucking eyebrows on fire? I had this
That was your question.
I had this insane sensation of heat across my eyebrows.
Aw.
And I'm like, are my fucking eyebrows on fire? And she's like, she looks at me. She was so serious. And then she goes, ah! You know, and all the people around us are like, tourist, he's fucking high, you know.
I hear her laughing in the background.
Yeah, because I mean, it was like, I went from nothing to a million, you know.
Well, and let's talk about that for a second, because edibles take a while to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
So you can assume, and your sense of time kind of goes away when you're doing this, that they're not happening. Oh, that was nothing. That edible was... And the thing is, they can catch you. And I'm sure everyone has a story like that, because they do.
I think most new medical cannabis patients end up with a story like that. I can tell you that we have done multiple dozens of private patient potlucks in people's homes, and
cook
to my
things
recollection,
there on site.
there was only one occasion where someone got over medicated, and I kind of feel like that was actually deliberate on that person's part, because they'd never done it before, and they got caught up in the environment. But it generally doesn't happen in a potluck environment. It happens when you first get started, or you go on a camping trip, or you do something unusual that you've never done before.
Not being a medical cannabis user or a frequent cannabis user, was warned when I bought my first edible about take your time, low and slow, start off, take X amount, and give it an hour to an hour and a half. And that is good words of advice. Now, you also mentioned the limit in Illinois for any one edible item you can purchase is 100 milligrams of THC. Now, that could have 500 milligrams of CBD in it also. But a lot of times what you'll find is like a candy bar that is 100 milligrams, and it's like a Hershey's bar where you can break off the pieces to kind of decide what you're doing. Or it's like a 10-pack of gummies, and each one is 10 milligrams each. And I know people who cut them in half because one gummy is too much for them. So that means they're basically consuming 5 milligrams of THC.
Correct.
And that is giving them the effect they need. Now, I was given an edible on my first adventure into a dispensary. I was kind of given like a welcome here gift pack back when they did that.
Yeah.
And it had like a gram
back in the
of
day,
cannabis and a couple other things. But I had this little
pipe
vat of sugar, honey, and it was 62 milligrams. And I remember like freaking out and dipping the spoon in because they said it was just going to be hellacious. Now, looking back now, based on what I know about myself, I could have eaten that whole thing. I could have dumped that whole little thing of sugar into my tea, and I never would have felt it. So one of the things I was hoping we would talk about tonight is people who are edible averse in the way that they don't absorb them the same way that someone who has to cut a gummy in half does.
Exactly. And I'm glad that we're doing that, because...
Me too.
we do see posts kind of frequently throughout the group that have to do with edibles don't work for me.
I didn't even feel it.
I don't want to waste. Yeah, I did
this and I didn't even feel it. What's up? Yeah.
Now there's kind of two culprits to that.
Yeah.
Number one, my fingers are looking weird here. Number one, you have a normal system and you didn't take enough.
Right.
But number two is really more important, is you've got some sort of a digestive absorption issue.
I call them generalized absorption issues.
You can take 1, 2, 3, 5 and never feel any of it.
Right.
There's kind of two different, I guess, groups of people here.
Now,
but
let me kind of tell where I've come from on that, because I was also told that edibles are very scary. And I started with a couple dispensary issued edibles and was kind of curious as to why they weren't kicking in. And this was when I was really sick, when I first got my card, and I was super stoked to let cannabis heal me. I was going on the whole, okay, edibles are another way to reduce pain, cause comfort, help with a lot of my issues where I wasn't eating because I couldn't even taste food. So I was looking for something to stimulate an appetite in me.
Right.
I bought a chocolate bar, and I was given this little sample of infused honey, which looking back was 62 milligrams. And I added those and never noticed anything, and eventually ended up buying another chocolate bar, which would have been 100 milligrams per Illinois rules.
Right.
I ate the whole thing, just thinking let's go for broke, and never really felt it. Kind of knew that something was there, but never really got this psychoactive effect that I was from every day-to-day smoking, vaping, concentrates, flour. I didn't get that effect.
So let's just camp here for a quick sec, because when you smoke, I think that you'll feel a certain effect.
Well, that goes to first pass.
Correct, but when you vape as opposed to smoking, it's a different effect. When you then go to an edible now, it's fair to expect a different effect, right?
Right. And okay, I heard this described really well, and I mean, my husband laughed when he saw this meme, but why was it when I smoke cannabis I just relax, but when I eat it I see dragons?
You know what?
And there is I think it's that effect.
I think it's that, and it's vice versa. For a lot of people across the spectrum,
right,
of not only whether I smoke it or vape it or eat it or this, or whether it's CBD or THC in some cases.
Right.
I mean, we used to do a cocktails and conversation about cannabis at a local bar.
Friday nights.
And we had a guy come up and loved what we were about, what we were doing, but he says, I got to tell you, he had a bad THC experience in Vietnam.
Right.
And to this day, he cannot tolerate the anxiety that comes from the psychoactivity of THC. It's a trigger, just like it was in Vietnam.
Sure.
And when I brought him a hemp joint,
which is
a
primarily
CBD hemp joint,
right?
And I just gave it to him, and a couple of weeks later, when I talked to him, he gave me a hug and he thanked me because he relaxed.
His pain.
And helped with his pain, but it did not add to his anxiety.
It wasn't that freak out.
It's always to each his own, and we're all different. It's always that.
Well,
it's 100% always that.
And when I told my husband tonight that we were talking about this, and this has been a pet project of mine, because let's go back to 2018. We were discussing in our very group why why some of us just have no effect from edibles.
Yep.
And I think a lot of us were assuming that the one edible that you can purchase at a time, like the one candy bar, the one package of gummies, was like the be-all, end-all of you can't take this whole thing. Now, I bought several of them and took them all at once to try it because I needed to know what my dosage was. And we're going to kind of talk about dosage tonight. I think knowing your dose is important.
Yes, I'm going to say two things about that.
Yeah.
I think knowing knowing the dose you're getting is important.
Yes.
You kind of need, that's important to know.
Yes.
The other thing to know is what is your effective dose?
And I like that term, effective dose. I like that.
Because it's the dose that you need to feel the way that you need to feel.
It's your medicinal dose. It's the dose that requires you to be functional. Right.
So
it's not the dose that puts you into another planet.
Let me slow down and say this again. The effective dose is the amount that helps you feel the way you want to feel at the time. Now that amount is going to be different at noon than it might be at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night.
Good point.
But it's figuring out those things and targeting them so that you're not over high and overtired or under medicated and grouchy and bitchy because you're angry because you're in pain.
Well, let's talk about, a lot of people use edibles for pain. Let's talk about that for a second, because a lot of people use cannabis to replace pain medications such as like a Vicodin or a narcotic pain medicine.
Yeah,
a lot of us do. Okay, so sometimes your edible dose is you maintaining an amount of cannabis in your system that fights this pain. It's literally, edibles do last a little longer than what he's doing right there, which is toking it. And so you may have to take, say, 25 milligrams every 4 hours. This might be your routine. Now, for other people, 25 milligrams may scare the hell out of you because you don't need that. Cannabis is a weird beast, and everyone is different in how they react to it. I mean, I think that can't be said enough.
No. It's 100% true.
Yeah.
It's 100% valid, but it even gets more in-depth and complicated than that. I mean, it's beyond dosage and applications. It's the layering of effect. This is my that's my nighttime chocolate,
and it has THC in it. 167 milligrams,
something like that.
It's about that. That's what yours usually winds up.
It's almost 170. It's almost 170 milligrams.
I did the math. It's 167.
There you go. She's got a better memory than I do as well. But let's just, big picture here. I start my day with a milliliter of QWET tincture in my coffee.
Right. And that's more like 20 milligrams.
Depending on the strength and the potency that I make it, I take tincture in my coffee in the morning, and I have 2 cups.
Right.
My anti-inflammatory capsules in the morning, or my anti-Alzheimer's capsules. My anti-Alzheimer's terpene blend has THCA raw in it.
Right.
Raw THCA. And then the anti-inflammatory capsules has raw CBDA and CBGA combined.
Right.
That's what's in those capsules. So I'm getting those cannabinoids there. I do my tincture. I do my exercises. I will dry your vape out of my onsen before I go to the gym. And I may do that 2 or 3 times throughout the day.
Right.
And then I will start with concentrates as I get toward the evening.
Right.
I may have an adult beverage, and there's alcohol tincture in this as well.
Right.
Because I do need sedation at night to sleep. But
and then you take chocolates.
Also, we'll have the chocolate here.
Right.
You'll see me eat it at some point in time.
No,
but it's several different ways, and it's several different times. It's several different pathways and routes, and it's several different cannabinoids.
But you've also changed it too as the day goes on because your pain increases through the day, correct? So the tincture that works in the morning is not necessarily what you need to get through the evening.
No, that's what I use the heavy dose Pico chocolates for at night.
Now,
I didn't even discuss the ABV caps that I take.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely include that info, too, because
myrcene and linalool, and then ABV oil.
Which has CBN in it also.
Correct. Exactly right.
So this is like you using a range of cannabinoids. You're using THCA, which isn't necessarily psychoactive, but is anti-inflammatory.
And
CBD and CBGA also, which are also neuroprotectant.
Well, neuroprotective, neuroregenerative.
Yes.
THCA, CBGA, CB. Okay, so that's the A molecules, and that's why I take those.
Well, and I also use them because inflammation is usually causing pain. So if you can control inflammation, you can control a lot of your pain. And that's a big part of my intake method.
Inflammation is the fuel for pain to thrive.
It is.
Holly gave me a book, Audible book.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times that the author talks about the inflammation driving pain.
She was controlling everything based on how to manage inflammation. And I mean, literally, that's been the fight I've had.
If you can rid your body of inflammation, you're going to go a long way to minimize the pain that you deal with on a daily basis. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just experientially telling you.
That's me.
Yeah, you too.
Well, I mean, my eating plan is based on ridding myself of inflammation. My cannabis plan is all about ridding myself of inflammation. When I go outside and like hop a fence and like fix a neighbor's thing and like throw a mussel out, I'm all about fixing the inflammation. So it's
I know.
It's literally, this is what's causing like your back issues, your shoulder pain, your RA inflammation is, you'll hear that a lot in autoimmune diseases, inflammation. It's your body's response to thinking it's injured or being injured. It's like your wrist being swollen. That's inflammation. And a lot of what I've learned about edibles and how to make the best use of them has been kind of managing inflammation. And I've really taken this on personally because I wanted to know why they warned me if I ate the whole candy bar, I'd freak out. And I ate the whole candy bar and nothing happened. So
can I just, I want to make sure that you get a chance to talk about, and we still have to talk about the 420 stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got more to talk about. But I want to make sure you have a chance to talk about lipase and people that struggle to absorb. What can they do to absorb their edibles and make them more effective?
Well, and that was
Can you do a couple of minutes?
biggest thing was why am I not absorbing it? What do I need to do to absorb more? What is the issue here? And I kind of did like a poll back in 2018 with the group, and I noticed a lot of people with thyroid problems, with IBD, IBS, these are gut issues, Crohn's disease, people who'd had their pancreas removed. All kinds of people with autoimmune diseases were also having problems like edibles do nothing for me. I bought a pack of dispensary gummies and I ate all of them and nothing happened. And I said, I'm going to solve this. And this was literally my goal. Was like, what the fuck?
I remember.
Why do we have a problem with this? And I went on this like hightailed episode of what we can do.
I remember
for this.
that.
Yeah, but because I wanted that edible experience.
Honey, I'm not ignoring you. I'm looking at the comments.
No, go ahead.
I remember that. So yeah.
No, because I was butthurt about it because I wanted the edible experience. And then here's the kicker is I was making smoothies every day with my Erty vape bud just so I could go outside.
I know you were. I remember that.
And this was like 7 grams that I had smoked the day before of ABV. So I'm assuming there was 350 milligrams left in it. And I was putting them in smoothies and barely feeling it. So I assumed that my edible tolerance was 400 milligrams. Now, as I started to break this down a little better, I realized that, like, having lecithin in edibles helped me. Eating them with fat helped me. Having better blood circulation, so, like, turmeric. I had all these things going on. I used to take Tums before I ate my edibles so that I would digest slower. But what I found in the end was I was lacking lipase, and I literally buy this in capsules and I literally take one before I take my edibles.
Lipase.
It's a digestive enzyme, and you can get them on Amazon by typing in lipase enzyme, digestive enzymes. If you already have stomach problems, I just recommend you get a general digestive enzyme. I mean, right now in my house, there's like 15 different versions of this, and I have them for different periods of my menstrual cycle. I'm literally keeping track of this, but lipase was the kicker, because lipase helps you absorb fat-soluble elements, and cannabis is a fat-soluble element.
Say that slower.
Well, cannabis, as you know, absorbs into fat. Lipase helps you absorb the fat-soluble constitutes of your medicine and other things too. So the fact that, okay, think about this. We infuse our cannabis into oils. We infuse it into butter. We infuse it into coconut oil. We infuse it into MCT. Because it's fat-soluble.
Fat-soluble. Right.
It's hydrolyphic. It doesn't like water, so we need to think about the fat.
Soluble. Right.
Well, okay, so there are a bunch of enzymes in your body, and I noticed a lot of the people who had gallbladder issues or gallbladders removed.
Yeah, I don't have a gallbladder.
Well, and so those people have fat absorption issues. So if you're taking fat-soluble vitamins, they may have a harder time getting into you. And you may even know this if you take a med and they say do not ingest grapefruit with it.
So I just want to put a little disclaimer out here.
Yeah.
And say both me and my wife, none of us have gallbladders. We are all, this is a gallbladder-free home.
Gallbladder removed. You're a gallbladderless household.
But if you take an edible, of the right potency, you can feel it.
And I'm going to talk about potency here in a minute because there are ways to overshoot it and not feel it. And I just want to give this shout out to the people who are brave enough to do this. Because,
Okay.
well, all right, so I was making smoothies with, basically, hold on, I got a buttload of it here. Like already vape bud. I had tons of it. I was dumping a 1/4 ounce into a smoothie a day and just gulping it down. I was putting mango in there to try to enhance the effect. I'm sure I was getting 300 milligrams a day. And I wasn't really feeling it. I was getting some medicinal effects, but I wasn't feeling it. And I was like, what's wrong with me? What's going on with me? And the first thing I do is blame myself, because I'm not going to say, like, this bud doesn't have THC in it, you know. So
why can't I feel it?
Why is everyone else having to cut their gummies in half? What am I doing wrong?
Right.
Well, and other people were feeling this way too. So what is really the problem? And I started to realize, and I didn't know this at the time, but I'm coming out of my health nightmare, and I apparently have shitty digestion. I uncovered a whole wealth of problems within myself, and it led me to change my lifestyle, my diet, my fiber intake. I take a buttload of probiotics a day, and prebiotics, and fiber. And I still can't even use edibles medicinally for more than 2 days in a row, because I will develop a tolerance that you have never seen before. When we did, before we ever even got to this point, we went to Canna 1, and I swear to God, I was eating 12,000 milligrams to get through that. Medicinally, it will help you. It helped me. I would have been in a lot of pain, and I wasn't, but I also wasn't feeling it. Now, here's where I want to talk to you about this. This THC is still getting into your system. Your body is just not giving you that high. THCA, you don't feel it. But it does help with inflammation.
You're not going to get a buzz.
You're not going to be freaking out with THCA.
Well, you're not going to get a psychoactive effect from THCA.
But you are going to get the healing effect. And it was still helping me. And now I've questioned also my CBD intake, because I make capsules, and I don't take lipase to take my capsules. But what I have done is I have put them into coconut oil so that they're in a fat. And sometimes the way that you absorb it, like some people have told me that edibles work for them only in like a chocolate or only with like a high fat meal. So there are ways that you absorb better. You can take like literally like a THC isolate capsule, take it, and if you like a high fat chicken, KFC meal, you're getting all that fat, you're getting all that help to absorb it, or you can take that with nothing else and you might not feel it. There's literally a way to introduce it into your system that helps you absorb it. So for me, that was fat and protein being taken at the same time. I think that is somewhat important.
I think it's 100% important, but it's also important that everybody understands that you got to kind of, you're going to have to figure out what works for you.
Right.
Try a bunch of different things and different methods and stuff, but you're just going to have to kind of, it's unfortunately trial and error. There is no book or register, or there's nothing that we can say
written
if you
in
do
a
this,
book anywhere will
this.
Tell you how to do this for you. You have to
and the
explore
reason
this
for
on your
that
own.
is that we are all different in how we process cannabinoids. So we just have to take what we know now, and we have to kind of build on that or add to that.
So I'm going to throw out some tips real quick to get better absorption through cannabinoids. All right, my very first one is stay hydrated, because if your blood is not circulating through your system and you're not hydrated, you're just not going to process the THC properly. Number 2, take it on an empty stomach, but take it with some fat and protein. Not necessarily sugar, even if it's a gummy. Like, seriously, eat a piece of, like, peanut butter toast. Just that fat and that protein will help you. Number 3, turmeric, taking, like, Tums beforehand. If you are a fast metabolizer of things, which I also am, slowing down your digestion with like a base material will really help. Number 4. Go ahead.
Let me just, I just want to just reinforce what you're saying, and just really simplify it, because that's
sure. We should.
My role in life. If you have trouble absorbing and you haven't tried a Tums first, give that a shot. It's
seriously, like, take it while you're thinking about taking the edible. Pop it in your mouth and chew that Tums up before you
just
go
give it a
eat
shot.
that candy bar.
It's $1 or something to buy a roll of Tums at the gas station, whatever.
And try it.
It's a cheap solution. Try it. If it works, well, then you're on to something. So
right. You might know that you just demolish things fast. You may metabolize things fast. My dentists have had to constantly numb areas on me because I metabolize things fast enough that I eventually get through the local anesthetic. And so, I mean, I know that that is a thing that I do. So Tums will slow down the effect of it absorbing. Okay, part 3 is start to think about how your body is actually absorbing fat-induced nutrients. If you have like a milk allergy, if you've had your gallbladder removed, you may need to take lipase before you bite into that edible candy bar or your homemade concoction. So a lot of times I will take lipase knowing that I'm going to need to take an edible. This is literally like in my kitchen. I will pop one while I go to figure out what edible I'm going to eat. And it maybe 15 minutes before, or as I'm eating like a piece of chocolate, I will pop one of these digestive enzyme lipase capsules. Sometimes I take 2. This brand specifically, I've only had to take 1 of. A lot of times right after I take an edible, a lot of my edibles are capsules because I just don't see a point in making something out of chocolate or into a gummy. So I will just make capsules into the edibles because I kind of know the dosage. But I will do it in chocolate too. Another thing that I put in my capsules is lecithin. And lecithin has been what I think is a breakthrough. I don't use it when I infuse. I use it when I create. So I use lecithin when I make my RSO into chocolate or when I put my RSO into gummies. But I do not add the lecithin until I'm in the final product. And I'm not really sure why it helps, but it seems to help because it emulsifies, it integrates, but I also think that it helps my gut emulsify and integrate THC into my system. Now, everything that's going in when I eat it, say I just now took this chocolate, is going to have to go through my liver to really affect me, like psychologically, physically. That's called the first pass effect, and it's literally your body changing THC into kind of a more psychoactive thing. And anyone who's ever overdosed on edibles and had a bad time will tell you that it is hell, but anyone who's looking for that, here's how you get the better effect. lipase, and then I'll tell you something else. Because it's fat soluble, doesn't hurt to drink grapefruit juice after. Just kicks it into overdrive. And I'll give you the example right now of I used to have to eat 4 dispensary edibles to feel what 60 milligrams does for me now. So I used to, 400 milligrams did not feel like 60 milligrams does to me now. That's a big difference. That means that to physically benefit from an edible, I really don't have to, I barely have to go through 1 dispensary purchase versus 4 dispensary candy bars to remedy the same pain.
Right.
So
cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
I hope that was helpful. We're at like 8:46.
And I will answer questions about this all day long.
Yeah, so by all means,
ask
put your
away
questions in the comments.
Ask in the future
kind of
if you're in the group.
That is the great thing about us being back on Facebook for the broadcast initially, is that we can
shout out
the comments.
to the YouTube people who are seeing us. Like the groups down there, join us. We have some answers.
Please,
might not have them all.
Yeah,
but
we have more than Google. I mean, that's what
we
people
do
have said
know
before,
more than Google.
Anyway, so we've got some 420 things that we want to talk about. Would you like to do the contest first?
Yeah. Wait, let's talk about. I mean, we're coming up on 420. I mean, It's March, but we have nothing else to look forward to. So here you go. 420 is coming. Well, I mean, spring, seriously.
We have been planning, guys. This is the first year that I proactively planned for 420. So probably a week or 2 weeks ago, I began reaching out to our partners and stuff.
And our discount vendors.
And our vendors. And so we have a couple of things that we want to talk about. One is the T-shirt contest.
Yes.
We're going to have a T-shirt design contest. We've had this, the third year now? Yeah, I think this is the third year.
Yeah, it is. It's our third year of that. And I mean, seriously, like, I'm wearing a DIY shirt now. You're wearing a shirt. Fashion show.
This is a member designed shirt. I know it looks weird because of the green screen, but
actually it's coming out pretty clear.
So the idea of the T-shirt design contest is 420. So it is a 420 commemorative T-shirt, and we do have the rules posted in the group. I'll make sure we bump them in the comments or something. But the design should indicate our helping patient community. That's what we do. That's how we do life. But it should, also say Medical Cannabis DIY or MC DIY, just the initials. And then 420 2022, because this is a commemorative T-shirt.
Focus on what we do. I mean, literally, if you need art inspiration, I can't think of a better thing than the fact that we help each other.
That's kind of how we do life together, guys. The deal is, if you submit the winning design, we're gonna buy you your T-shirt
out of it, guys.
We're gonna give you your T-shirt for free, and then it'll live on our site, on our T-shirt
to be ordered in the future.
To a small portion of all those sales do support what we do here, and that would be the Zoom contract, and business cards, because we do have business cards. What else, Holly?
The shipping. The shipping's a big thing. I mean, sometimes
Yeah,
do
because
tool exchange.
Well, when she says shipping, she's leading into the next topic, which would have been the giveaway for 420, right?
Well, we're having a waffle, which is a raffle. So, we call it a waffle because you're not allowed to raffle things on Facebook. So we just have waffle parties. And 420 is going to be an awesome waffle party. Where we're going to include you guys. Put your names out there. We have great gifts coming at you. And we're going to draw names.
So, do you have
I do.
The pictures?
Yes,
okay.
I'm going to put them up right now.
Throw the pictures up and just kind of run them like a slideshow.
Well, right now, here is something that Fern Valley gave us. So I've got a THCO cart here from Fern Valley, which I totally trust them. Hold on, I'm going to put you so you can see what we're doing here.
So I got the box from Fern Valley today.
Yeah, he did.
I actually got it yesterday, but so we took some pictures today of what was in the box from Fern Valley Farm. So this is their contribution.
Check this out. They are breaking all. There is their famous CBD-A, CBD-G capsules.
Yep.
And
so
Delta
you have
8
Delta
gummies.
9 gummies and Delta 8 gummies.
And
so
distillate.
That's a Delta 8 distillate syringe.
Hell yeah. Well, no, I got a better picture of that. There you go. Right there. That's is a great picture syringe. Of that. And I mean, and a vape cartridge.
Well, there's two. There's a Delta 8 vape cartridge and a battery.
Right.
And then right next to that is
a
THCO cartridge and another vape battery.
Now, here, let me tell people about this because THCO is very close to THC in my opinion, if anybody's asking any questions. We also have great gifts from other vendors, but this is a great package in and of itself. And this is going to be given away on 420, which is basically Can of Christmas.
I reached out to pretty much all of our partners and vendors, and as I do every year at this time, and I ask for donations. And several have said, absolutely, love you guys. Where do you want me to send the package?
Right.
And
right.
So we're just waiting for the packages to start hitting Holly's house. I actually have one here, and those are the pictures that you see.
Coming to my house.
But I have a label here. I'm going to go take that to the post office tomorrow and send that to Champaign. So what ultimately is going to happen with all of the stuff that we receive from our partners is that when we get to April 1st, we're going to put a post up and we are going to ask you to put in your favorite number.
Right.
Now, it's going to be a random number generator concept.
Right.
So you get one entry per person, but you just have to put a comment in there so we know
you just
that you
have
want
to
to be in
comment.
the...
Your number does not have to be different from someone else's. We are not picking actually based on numbers. You just have to say that you're interested, and your name being interested will check you off, and you will be put into the drawing.
Count me in.
Right. There you go.
So now we're going to have potentially lots of stuff from several different manufacturers. Holly will try and come up with different packages that make sense. Her and I will talk about it. And we may give you the opportunity to say, hey, I'd like this, or I'd like this, but that's
you may get some magic pain salve.
That's a to be determined thing.
Right.
So,
but it's coming, guys.
We talked about the giveaway. We talked about the T-shirt contest.
Let's talk about the 420 party.
Oh!
I am hosting a 420 party in
Scottie
our area.
Pippen throwing it up.
If you're ECIL, you got to know the gang sign. Just kidding. Just kidding. You don't have to know the gang sign. But it doesn't hurt.
It's not a real
funny
gang.
As hell. It's not a real gang.
Not a real gang.
I live in Champaign, Illinois. That's East Central Illinois, 3 hours south of Chicago. Basically straight down the state. Last year, well, okay, let me tell the history of it a little bit. Cannabis became legal in our state in 2020.
4 minutes.
And I really thought that would be a great time to have a 420 party when we became recreationally legal. But COVID happened, so for 2021, one day I was hanging out with my friends at our local vape vault, which is a vaporization lounge for nicotine, but also cannabis. And I said, fuck this, I'm having a party here. We're doing it. And we did last year, and I'm very proud because I did it in a week. And let me tell you a little bit about last year's party just real quick so you know what to expect with this year's party. I figured I'd see how many joints I could roll in 90 minutes. So I rolled 77, and I gave them all away. And I made sugar and salt, and I made my topical magic pain salve. And I made I just made everything that we do in the group, because if you're going to try it and you see that I can make it, you can make it too. So that's what I did.
Do you remember what I brought that time?
You brought butter. You brought super infused butter, and I had some brownies that were made by that later. So
I bought like 4 pounds of butter in 3 different potencies because I'm insane like that.
Right. No, and okay, so here's what I'm asking of you. Anyone is welcome to come to this. I'm going to have a bunch of stuff there, and you can try it, but you can also bring things. I gave people RSO to make into gummies. Ethan made a crap ton of gummies for the event.
When you say, Holly, when you say bring things, you're going to bring devices, various
There will be devices also. And this is a vape lounge. So technically it's not a cannabis consumption lounge. But who knows what we're vaping, right?
You know what? It's it's interesting because they love us.
Scott is awesome.
Nobody cares.
The vape vault is
telling
awesome.
Nobody cares what we do with the vape vault because we evaporated some alcohol to make Pico, and we taught all kinds of classes. I mean, so it's going to be a great time.
Shout out to Scott. He has been awesome about letting us. We had a capsule class there. We have this is truly not like your strip mall run-of-the-mill vape store. This is a lounge. There is a guitar center right next door, and actually some of my art's in there, so like hype, whatever. But
I really am going to make you get specific here because of the time at hand.
Okay.
So this is going to be on 4/20.
Yes.
And this is going to be at Wednesday. What time is it going to start?
It's gonna start like 5 or 6. We're working out the details, and I am going to post this in the group. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you need to join our group, or at least join our Facebook page to get the info. It will be open to the public.
Right.
Because
right.
I want people to see what we do, and I've never had a problem with the public.
Right. Yeah. When we do this at the Vape Vault, this is a public event, so anybody can walk in there, and
our local budtenders are already talking about coming.
Yeah. So
I'm inviting people from.
I would say, don't worry about it, because I was there last year. I may be there this year. I'm not sure yet. I don't know how.
It's a long drive for you. I don't know if I'm
going to make it. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. So.
But here is an example of what we do locally, and a lot of people, because a lot of our audience is Illinois people, because this is where we started. We will be having this in East Central Illinois, and I mean, we had people from Indiana and Arkansas last year, so
we did.
And more people are welcome to join us. I had a food truck last year. I will do that again. There will be food.
We actually did a live stream.
Outdoor dining area. We had a stream from there.
We did a live stream from there last year.
And we'll do it again.
We'll see what happens.
We have to take back our canna-friendly things. I mean, this is... Illinois became legal, and then pandemic happened. I'm here in this state, and I just want to put out to everyone who's canna-friendly in my local area. And if you want to do this too, we can help you. I mean, we know how to do it and what not to be so much afraid of, where to find the places.
Exactly.
And it's okay to reach out to your people. That's what I want. That's what I want this to be about.
Good. That's what the party's about. We're out of time. Do you have a parting comment, Holly?
I'll get the. I've been putting off getting the event posted because I want it to look really good. And guys, if you're in the area, come join me. We'll be talking about it more as it gets closer. We're a month away, but seriously, things are happening, and don't be afraid to be canna-friendly.
Guys, we love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I hope this was helpful. Put your questions in the comments, and
we'll answer them.
Either one of us will respond. So we love you. We'll see you next week. Bye for now, guys. Good night.
Good night, guys. I'm ending the live video, and I'm going to end the YouTube now. Like and subscribe, join our group.